Hello and welcome back to the Pulse with Willie and Al. How you doing today, Al?
Man, Willie, I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. We are dropping our 23rd episode today. You go ahead, you give them the title today on this.
Yeah, today's episode. Yikes! Today's title of our episode is apparently you don't need a kicker.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna
Yeah,
need to. We're gonna talk about it for
no,
sure. Well, listen, before we get into things, just want to remind you guys, go ahead, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. Drop us a comment. Let us know what you think. And let's take it away with the NFL Sunday takeaways, man. We've got the 1 p.m. games were just absolutely insane. Now, I know with the time change that just came through, it was a little bit crazy. Dude, I stayed up way too late that night. And I came to bed. My wife was like, "What time did you come in last night?" That's how late it was. So I ended up staying up late because the ending of those games were absolutely insane. And first one we want to talk about is Houston Tampa Bay. Now, I know Houston ends
yeah,
up winning 39-37, but this game was packed full of action. It was so cool to watch CJ Stroud. What were your thoughts watching this game?
yeah. This was one of the weirder games that I think happened this week because, like, first of all, CJ Stroud just goes nuts, and we're gonna talk about it, but like, Houston feels a little legit. I know they don't have I look at what which is wild because like I still cannot name a wide receiver that CJ Stroud throws to.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, I can because of fantasy, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, like it's bananas. And like 5 touchdowns, 470 yards, no turnovers. Like he's on pace to shatter rookie records. And he's got to be the front runner for offensive rookie of the year.
Oh,
And it's
definitely.
and it's not even close. The
Yeah.
only person that's even maybe in his wheelhouse is Jordan Addison, but like respectfully, it's CJ Stroud's to lose at this point,
Yeah,
and it's just bananas.
and he's been leading the team in the quarterback position, which is, predominantly the harder position to play in the NFL, especially as a rookie for him to come in and do that. But I think the main thing that I looked at, and I just watched his poise. I mean, they were down early, 17-7. Like, it was just, then they lose their kicker, and this guy just doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't care that they're, not completing the 2-point conversion attempts and stuff. He's still going out there. He's still fighting. I love the grit of this guy. And if you hear him talk, he is he is all about heart. He
Yeah,
loved being drafted by Houston. Loved it. It just, I don't know. I love watching this guy play.
I'll tell you what. Him coming when he came out of Ohio State, I unfairly penciled him in as, oh great, another Ohio State quarterback that puts up monster numbers in college, and he probably won't figure it out in the NFL. And then I was like, well, he got drafted by Houston. This is gonna suck.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I am just shocked by what I've seen from Houston this year. There's a little like new coach syndrome. They get that new coach bump with D'Amico Ryans. And yeah, it's just wild to see. And it's just been a fascinating story. And not only is there a chance they can make the playoffs, that division that they're in the AFC South that's a winnable division for them. I'm not saying they're gonna do it, but like there's a roadmap where they could.
Envision this real quick because, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit when we mention the AFC North, but that could end up in a meat grinder, and Houston could ride that wave right to the top and into a playoff spot. And this team, I think what they remind me of is a team that isn't aware of the situation that they're in. They're just going out there and they're just playing football. And that is something
Yeah.
that they're not getting. The lights aren't too bright for them. They're not focused on that. They're just saying, all right, you line up. We're going to line up. We're going to throw our best play at you. See if you can stop us. And I mean, I look at it, let's go back and forth here and look at this, but they didn't take the lead until early in the fourth quarter. Tampa Bay battles back. There's 4 lead changes in the fourth quarter. Baker throws a touchdown to Otton with 46 seconds left on the clock. I was pumped. I had Otton
Yeah.
in fantasy. But then Stroud marches right back down the field. And like when you're looking at him on the sideline, he's not like, oh no, this just happened. He says, oh, put the ball in my hand. Let me show you what I can do. So
Yeah.
it reminded me, it was very reminiscent of that Buffalo Kansas City game we had, what, 2 years ago, where it went back and forth and Mahomes has 15 seconds and you're saying, no, there's no way he's going to be able to do this. And he does. It was eerily similar to that. But it was incredible to watch. He is awesome to watch. And who couldn't like this guy? He's not unlikable,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Well, what's wild is what there was 5 lead changes
Mm-hmm.
in the fourth quarter. Like that's just insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. The fact that Stroud was able to do what he did, and like the fact that he didn't, they had to keep going for 2-point conversions, and they kept not getting them, which made his job just a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
And for him to do that, and you know what we're not talking about as well is they had a position player kick a field goal for them in the fourth fucking quarter of a close NFL game.
Yeah,
And hit a 29-yarder.
Yeah, wasn't he a running back?
Point.
I think he was a running back, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's incredible.
That's nuts. And if he doesn't hit that field goal, they lose the game.
Yeah.
Like they don't end up winning that game, which is just bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas.
Well, listen, and I know, like, we talked about watching Red Zone in the past, but the game that was parallel directly to that was Minnesota Atlanta, which shouldn't have been that great of a game. You know, you see, who was it, Hall, that was going to be the starter there. Dobbs just got traded there. You're like, listen, this isn't going to be much of a game. But
Joshua Dobbs didn't know who his linemen were.
Yeah, he doesn't know who anyone on the team is.
Yeah. It just that was banana. That game as well was bananas. Like, yeah. Oh my god! Like Atlanta does this thing where they have the schedule this year where they should. These are all teams that are very beatable, mm-hmm. and yet they can't get out of their own way. And for Dobbs to do what he did in the second half, just man, oh man.
Yeah, he had the touchdown rush where he looked really good, but like, he has 3 days to learn the game plan, and he's out there still being able to do it. And you could hear Kevin O'Connell, like the days after the game, you're hearing like him mic'd up, telling him, calling in the plays and saying, all right, this guy is running this route, this guy's running this route. And he goes out there and makes the play. Like I just want to point out that this is in a league that you need quarterbacks, and a lot of teams do. Mm-hmm. This guy is now going to be a starter for the 3rd different team this year.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Well, the fact that he didn't know any of his linemen, didn't really know any of his teammates, didn't know the plays, didn't know the cadences. Like you saw him like practicing on the sidelines, like between snaps, because like he didn't have enough time to get reps in. And the fact that he had an 11-play, 75-yard drive with under 2 minutes left for the game-winning touchdown is just insane. Well, that's just insane. Like you shouldn't be able to do that.
No, listen, you shouldn't. I couldn't do something like that.Maybe you could, but I definitely couldn't. But I did see something, and I'm not sure how true it is because I haven't looked it up, but I saw a post on Instagram that said he was an actual rocket scientist. I don't know if that's true, but it definitely makes it easier for him to comprehend some of that information and understand it, because he has knowledge on a different level than we do. But well, not we, but one good thing for him. Yeah. One good thing for him coming forward is Jefferson's coming back. They're saying he's ahead of schedule. He's going to be coming back. He's going to be opening that. I believe they're going to open that IR window this week on him, which means he's got 21 days to return. I mean, the question is, I've got to ask you, like, are you a believer in this team?
I'm going to say a thing like this. Like, I know the Lions are kind of running away with this division a little bit, but like the Vikings are 5-4 and have a real shot at they not only making the playoffs again, but could still win this division.
Hmm.
Like I mean, respectfully, like the Lions are 6-2. Like that's not like this isn't like manageable to them. Like they could still win this division. And the fact that they lost Kirk Cousins, they also, what we're not talking about, they lost Cam Akers to an Achilles injury as well, which is
Yeah, again, like
like
that's
they're just getting decimated.
yeah.
Like, and they're gonna try to put this together. And I'm interested to see. There's gonna be some really good second half football, and I can't wait to see how this plays out with Minnesota.
I'll tell you, it's a war of attrition, and I don't want to count against guys like Stroud or Dobbs. Not in this NFL because they just seem to have that passion, have that fire, um, where they can go out
Yeah,
there and just say, okay, doubt me. Let me show you. Let me show you what I can do. If I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna hang it out there on the line, showing you that I did everything I possibly could to try to succeed. One thing, and you had sent it to me the other day. And I want to back up real quick about C.J. Stroud. Was that correct that he has more career touchdown passes than Kenny Pickett?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. Hasn't Pickett been in the league like 3 years now? Three?
This is his second full year in the league.
Second
Yeah,
full year. Okay.
yeah.
Man,
Uh-huh.
too funny. But listen, I
Oh,
know
Kenny
we were
Pickett.
talking about playoffs. Playoffs. We were talking about playoffs. Yeah. So if the playoffs started today, these are the teams that would be in the AFC. You'd have Miami, Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Kansas City, all division winners. And then you would have Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. I just want to talk about
Yeah,
how incredible it is that the AFC North, every team would be in. That's crazy.
yeah. Or the fact that Buffalo is sitting on the outside looking in right now,
Yeah. And
which is
Houston, too.
just which is just nuts. Yeah, and
Yeah.
Houston, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing too is like if you look at the AFC playoffs picture right now, like there's like three teams sitting at 4-4, and then there's Buffalo at 5-4. Like this, nobody's really at. And like what we're not talking about too is like the Jets are sitting at 4-4, and Aaron Rodgers was caught mic'd up this week saying he's a couple weeks away from coming back,
Yeah, that's
and
insane.
that's
He was throwing
I,
60-yard passes. 60
yeah,
yards, man. Like it's
yeah,
you got to be able to
yeah,
push
just
off with your foot to be able to throw that far. You can't just he's not Jamarcus Russell throwing 60 yards from his knees, you know. I
yeah,
know that's a bad comparison, but like he was able to do that, right? And
yeah,
then never played
yeah,
a down after that, right? So but no, it just that could be crazy. I mean, even looking around this week, you were proven right last week in terms of the Ravens. You know, they seem to be for real. I mean, they've crushed two what we thought were good NFC teams. Seattle's not a pushover team. I
no,
they've got a good defense, a really solid defense. I thought personally they had the best secondary in the league, but Lamar made them look very suspect. He's
yeah, it's weird because offensively they're not doing anything like crazy.
mhm.
They're just like it's just they're being more efficient. Like and Lamar's just making smart throws and smart reads, and he's looking for guys over the middle, and it's really working. And it seems like it doesn't matter who's running the ball for them. Because I saw this
Yeah.
on Sunday. They ran for 295 yards as a team. Like I don't know how you beat a team if they're going to run for 300 yards a game.
Yeah,
Like
they just
that's
reload.
good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is the thing for me though, and I know they've been playing good defense this year, especially the last 2 weeks. They've shut down two pretty good teams, I would say, in the NFC. But I just do not see them beating Cincinnati or Kansas City. Uh, I just don't. And I know some people will argue that and say like, ah, well, you know, if they've shut down Detroit and Seattle, they can do that. But Joe Burrow is, I think, a better quarterback than Jared Goff and Geno Smith, and I know Patrick Mahomes is. I have to believe they're gonna play them a lot better than Detroit and Seattle did not showing up. I just
respectfully though, Baltimore. beat the shit out of Cincinnati early on
They
already.
did, but look at the score. Cincinnati almost won that game. It really wasn't. What was it? 2 points in week one? I mean, that's with a hobbled
I
Joe Burrow. I think they have a. I think Cincinnati gets the best of them the next time, or if they get beat, they get them in the playoffs. I don't know,
yeah,
man. I'm not sure. I still have this feeling that something is not going to go right with the Ravens. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it happens, but every single year I feel
ne-
like something just does not go right.
yeah. Next 2 weeks will be a big test for them. They got Cleveland and Cincinnati at home,
Hmm.
so that's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you want to go even further, the next 3 weeks before their bye, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and then the Chargers in LA. Like, should be able,
Yeah.
if they're as good as we think that they are, they should be able to take care of business,
Right.
especially against Cleveland at this point. Because like, you don't know what quarterback you're getting with Cleveland, whether it's Watson, Walker. I don't think that really matters.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati will be a big test for them because Cincinnati's getting healthy at the right time, and they're a hot team right now. So
Yeah, Cincinnati's
we'll
beat
see.
some really good teams as of late, so it's going to be a very big test. I mean, they beat the Bills and they made it. I mean, the score was closer at the end than the game looked. Yeah, Buffalo
Yeah,
scored at the end, but Buffalo got dominated for the majority of that game. It's
that's a game where the stats don't tell the whole story. Like if you
Mhm.
just kind of watch that game, Cincinnati just stuck it to them for the majority of that game,
Mhm.
and Buffalo is just reeling right now, and it's tough to see. They're decimated on the defensive side, and offensively they just can't get their act together.
Yeah,
So
it's really tough. Well, listen, just moving forward here, we're not going to discuss the Thursday night game. Listen, I'm sorry. We want to bring you guys some riveting content, and Thursday night football is not it. So,
don't watch it. Don't watch
yeah,
it.
what
We'll
we're
watch
gonna
it for
do,
you.
yeah, what we're gonna do is we're hoping we're gonna pump you up for the weekend football games that we have. So the Sunday game we want to dive into here is San Francisco at Jacksonville. San Francisco,
Yeah,
they're getting 3 points. The over/under is 45 and a half. It's some interesting things here, right? San Francisco's riding a 3 game losing streak coming into this game. Jacksonville's riding a 5 game winning streak. And within that winning streak, you look at some of the teams they beat. They beat Buffalo in London. I think it was, yeah, London.
yeah,
They've played good football recently. Regardless of how good Pittsburgh is, to go into Heinz Field and get a win, that's a tough thing to do. And Jacksonville was able to
absolutely.
do that. So I don't know. Like it, what we're kind of seeing in the last couple of weeks is San Francisco appears to have some holes, and Brock Purdy appears to be human after all. But do you think now that they've kind of dropped a few games, do you think the pressure is going to start to subside now for him?
I actually don't think that it is because San Francisco has this is kind of a Super Bowl or bust team for them this year. So like respectfully, like I think the pressure's on them more than ever.
Mm,
Like you have Seattle kind of in their division breathing down their necks. Um and at this point, like I don't think that they could beat Philadelphia, and they have that game coming up, which is going to be a real test for them. And I defensively right now, like they don't scare anyone. They're just not playing well defensively. And then like Purdy's just kind of making these decisions, and like he definitely is starting to look like a second year quarterback. I'm still really high on him because I we've seen what he's capable of, but right now it just nothing is going right for them.
hmm
And like we're gonna talk about too, like they added Chase Young, but I don't know how much that moves the needle for them.
Yeah,
I don't
there's only
like
so many guys on. This is the thing. He's not okay. He's a great playmaker, and I have no doubt that when he's on the field, he'll make plays. But what starter on this defense do you take out and put him in? Like you're
exactly
gonna bring
like
him in on third downs and stuff, but the guy that has been there, like the guys that have been there, you're gonna play them, and you may ease Chase Young into that. You're right. For
yeah.
me, I just listen. I think Chase Young could be a better player than some of the outside linebackers that they have, but what I mean by that is I don't instantly think that he comes in and automatically they become the top defense in the NFL again. I don't think that happens. I just I don't know. McCaffrey, I think he's doing his part. Like this guy's
Yeah.
just a touchdown machine. He's like, all right, give me the ball. I'm gonna figure out how to do it. Are they gonna have to lean on him more in the second half? And if they do, does that give him a chance of getting banged up going into the playoffs?
Yeah, they are this team feels like it's being held together by band-aids right now, and it's not great. And if they're not careful, that like could come crashing down real quick.
Hmm.
And Jackson, we're not talking about Jacksonville. Like this is a huge game for Jacksonville.
Hmm.
This is if Jacksonville can beat the 49ers, like in my eyes, this makes them legit.
That's a
Like,
franchise win. That's not just like, oh,
yeah,
we beat a team. That's a statement game against a very, very
yeah,
good organization.
yeah. They're gonna have to play really well because I mean that defense, I know it doesn't worry like San Francisco's defense hasn't really been worrying anybody lately, but they still got studs on that team,
Hmm.
and they're gonna have to play that offensive line has really gelled and they're starting to get healthy and come back, but they're gonna have to play the game of their lives
Yeah,
because Trevor Lawrence, like he needs that protection.
he
He's
definitely
put up
does.
good stats this year. He's been pretty solid for them, and I don't necessarily trust him in close games. I don't because I haven't really seen that yet. He did have the one playoff game, so I will give him that. But
Hmm.
like 9 times out of 10, if your team's down 4 and you need him to drive the length of the field, I'm not necessarily sold yet that he could do that.
Right. Yeah,
So
I don't think I am either. Listen, I like what he's done this year. He's been serviceable for them and played pretty well. I don't like how they've been using and or not using Calvin Ridley on this team. That's very frustrating to me. Travis Etienne, yeah, he's put up great fantasy numbers, but when you look at it, he really hasn't been that effective. His efficiency standards and metrics are really low. Uh, it just look at the last couple games; they haven't been running the ball well. I mean, they did just go up against the. It's funny enough they're on a 5-game win streak, but those 5 teams all had pretty decent run defenses. So I'm
yeah,
not surprised. Maybe things are going to open up now. But one thing I am sure of is, listen, Doug Peterson has this team playing good football, and they're beating good teams in tough places. And I think if they're able to do that, they're going to be okay the rest of the way. Listen, they get a few gimme games, but they also play a tough 4-week schedule in the middle of these last 9 games that they have, where they go Houston, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Baltimore, and that is, dude, that is a
yeah,
gauntlet for this team. That is an absolute gauntlet for them.
yeah. That's you're gonna. I think you're gonna really. I think what they're gonna need is they really need this game, and I think they can maybe ride that momentum into that 4-week stretch because if they're not careful, like Houston could catch them, and that's what we're not talking about. Houston could catch them for this division, and they have to go through the meat grinder that is the AFC North, and that's good luck.
You,
Good
you,
luck.
you know one thing, and I'm glad you brought it up. But last year we talked about, in the off season before we were doing this podcast, we had mentioned, what that win for Jacksonville meant against the Chargers coming back in the playoffs, and that kind of taste, that momentum. Well, Houston just had a game like that, and
Yep.
C.J. Stroud is a guy that concerns me when it comes to giving him a little bit of hope because he sees that little crack and he knocks the wall down and figures out,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you're going to give me a chance at making the playoffs. Watch this now. So you're right. If Jacksonville is not careful, they could have Houston banging on that door saying, "Oh, let us in." And we saw it with baseball this year. There's no, I'm not going to say there's no respect. They do not care if you're the number one seed.
No.
They don't
No.
care, but that's why we ended up with a wild card World Series because they didn't look at it and say, "Oh, you're supposed to beat us, so we should play less." No, like
Yeah.
they're coming into the building saying, "Listen, we're going to put our best 55 against your best 55 and let's see what happens." So,
Yep.
it's been very awesome. This division's been better than I thought it would be, especially
Me
considering
too.
AR is injured and out for the year, and Tennessee is kind of like a crapshoot. But Houston and Jacksonville seem to be playing teams very tough, and I like that. And I will say, like, we didn't really mention it before, but I do want to mention that Tampa Bay is better this year than I thought they were going to be, and I was definitely wrong about them. Baker Mayfield is better than I thought he would be.
He is. That team has kind of really come back to earth
Hmm.
for me. Like they are, man, they're not great right now. Like
They're not.
they're 3-5. They're playing Tennessee this week in a which feels like the winner of that game could maybe build some momentum, but the loser of that game is done.
Done for the
Like
year. Yeah, it definitely
yeah,
feels that
it
way.
feels like that. Like
Uh,
yeah, in the old adage of like wrestling, it feels like a loser leaves town match. Like
yep.
just
Yeah.
yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. I really have high hopes for Jacksonville, and I think they this year had really big expectations that they were going to win this division.
Hmm.
Everybody kind of thought that, and like this, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to beat good teams,
You have to.
and this is where it starts. Yep.
You're absolutely right, man. Well, what do you have for a score for this game?
I have been wrong what feels like on every pick lately. I I feel like I'm just going to jinx whoever I pick. That being said, I think that San Francisco turns this around because they just have more talent,
Hmm.
and I think the talent is going to win out. I think this is going to be a San Francisco 23, Jacksonville 20.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
All right, so
yeah,
pretty close. I have it a little bit reversed just because I think Jacksonville's gonna ride that momentum. I have Jacksonville winning 21-20. So
yeah,
it's real close. So, the winner gets to stay on the show, the loser, I guess I'll leave town. Right? So,
yeah.
yeah.
This, yeah, and so because I just jinxed San Francisco, they're probably Brock Purdy's going to get hurt. McCaffrey's probably going to blow out an ACL.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, San Francisco. You're welcome.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, let's answer. So last week and we've been doing this for a few weeks now, but we're doing trivia questions for
Yeah.
some of our followers, and we want to see exactly what you guys think in terms of that. So the question we asked the other day was, which team has never appeared in a World Series? Al, you go ahead. You let them know what it was.
Unfortunately, it's the Seattle Mariners.
Oh,
That team is just had a horrendous history of just not good things happening to them. You know, but someday they'll make it. If the Texas Rangers can win a World Series, anybody can win a World Series at this point.
yeah. Let's see. Maybe
So
Bruce Bochy goes and leaves and goes to Seattle, and
yeah,
then
probably would help.
yeah, it might.
Yeah,
Well, the new one that we have, the new question for trivia that we're going to have this week is there are four teams, and this is the spirit of the NFL now, since we're firmly in football season now. There are four teams that haven't appeared in a Super Bowl. What teams are they? And the
yeah.
next episode, next Tuesday, we will make sure that we answer that for you. So definitely you can either,
Couple disclaimers.
yeah,
Couple disclaimers on this question. First of all, this is for all current 32 NFL teams
yep,
and their current iterations. That being
perfect.
said, also, and if this is just the Super Bowl era,
Okay,
this is pre 1967.
okay.
Just for the listeners out there.
Post
So,
1967.
I'm sorry, post
Yeah.
night. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. There we go.
See, I try to make a point and
Yeah, no,
nothing.
it's perfect. Okay. All right. So we will definitely answer that next week. Al, was there anything you wanted to bring up?
No, man, that was it's I'm excited for another week of football. Baseball's done. I'm a big NBA guy as well. So Celtics are running my life currently. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely a good thing. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to week 10. I can't wait. I'm still alive in the Guillotine League, so
Woo.
we'll definitely give an update on that on Tuesday and let you know if my head's still above water. We will see. But listen, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We will be back next Tuesday, like we said. We're going to give our week 10 reactions. Again, if you like it, if you love it, drop a comment. If you don't, let us know as well. But don't forget to smash that subscribe button. like the video. You can email us at thepulsewa@gmail.com if you got any questions. You can find me on Twitter at Willie Creeman FF and on Twitch on Sundays. Now it is changed. It is not going to be 11:30 anymore. It's going to be earlier because, well, no, I think with the 8 hour difference, it's a little bit more difficult. So it's
Yeah.
8:30 for me here, but it's 12:30 for you guys, or 12 to 12:30 that I'll be on. So
Yeah.
we'll
Fuck
figure it
daylight
out.
savings time.
Yeah, I know. Jesus, it's awful. But again, listen, you guys need anything, let us know. Al, love you, buddy. I really appreciate it, man.
Willie, I love you too, man. Stay safe.
All right, you too. Peace.